Hello, friends. Welcome to another Thursday Night Live. Tonight, we're going to create beautiful handmade cards for fall using the Changing Leaves stamp set along with the Country Woods Designer Series paper. Now, this is Thursday Night Live, but once again, I am not live. I am away on vacation, so this has been pre-recorded, even though it looks live. But I will be watching comments. So if you are here and joining me live, go ahead, leave me a comment. Let me know if you are ready to start making cards for fall. If you're here watching the replay, welcome. I love that you guys come later and watch the replay. So I'd love to hear if you are ready to make cards for fall as well. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you joined me. I am Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and I am going to help you reconnect with your inner artist to create beautiful handmade cards and gifts using stamps, ink, and paper. And that is what we're going to do tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and make my workspace look just a little bit bigger so we can get down to business. Let me open this up. All right, here we go. And we're going to switch this around. We don't want me bigger. We want my workspace bigger. All right, so here is the Changing Leaves stamp set. Now, you're not going to see this in any of Stampin' Up's catalogs because this is only available online. So if you want to get this stamp set and the coordinating dies and the coordinating, the coordinating embossing folder, you have to go online and look for it. And you're just going to look for Changing Leaves. Or you can always click on that button that says Online Exclusives, and you can see all of the things that are only available online. But this one is really fun. It has 3 different leaf images and then some fun sentiments, some nice sentiments. You're amazing in every single way. I couldn't have done it without you. Here for you. Thank you. A little note to brighten your day. So really sweet sentiments. I'm going to set that aside for just a minute so we can take a look at the Country Woods pattern paper. So this gorgeous pattern paper, if you have not seen it already, which you probably have, I have been using it a ton because it just works for so many projects. It is wood grained on one side. Well, actually both sides. Both sides are wood grained. So we have a nice wood grain here, mostly brown, one that is blue, and we turn it over and we get kind of lighter colors. So we kind of have a dark side and a light side on this one. We have some different whites. We have some petal pink and some pool party, and then this gorgeous stripe. I love this stripe. I didn't use it today, but I love it. All right, let me put that aside. We've already pulled out a couple of the dies, but I do want to show you the dies that go with this. So there's this one giant die, and you're like, why is this one giant die? Because it cuts out those 3 leaf images, right? So why make it one? It is going to cut them out separately, but it's one giant die because you can use it. This is a hybrid embossing folder. So you can use it with the embossing folder to cut out the embossed images, and it's going to fit right on those images so you can cut those out all at once. So that's why it's one giant die. I'm not going to use the embossing folder for the project that I'm showing you how to make tonight, but one of my sample projects does use this embossing folder. So the other thing it has, it's kind of 8 different dies. The packaging says 10, but it's actually 8, which gave me a heart attack earlier today because I just looked at the packaging to write down the number of dies. And then I was putting them back in their spot earlier, and then I got them back out again. I was putting them back in their spot, and I was like, there's only 8. What am I missing? And I couldn't figure it out. Well, there's actually only 8 dies. So there's a couple of these long oval dies that are great for some of the sentiments. There's a circle die for the sentiment. Actually, we need this one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that out. There are these these fine detail dies as well to cut some leaves. We're going to use those, and another one, and then some different pieces too. These are the pieces I am not using, so I'm gonna go ahead and just set those aside for a minute. All right, I'm also gonna be doing kind of a fun technique. I don't even know if I'm gonna call this like a full-on technique because I don't know, I've never tried it with other stamps. It just worked really well. It was kind of a fun way to color this. I'm gonna show you how I did it. All right, I'm grabbing some pecan pie ink. Pecan pie. I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm using that really big leaf image, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to ink that up. And I am just stamping it on this piece of white. We're going to cut it out so it doesn't really matter. I just want the whole thing to fit. All right. So there we go. Isn't that gorgeous? And I'm going to color this first. So the first thing I'm doing, I am grabbing a light petal pink Stampin' Blends marker, and I'm just going to color in the leaves with that light petal pink. So just color the whole, each leaf. I feel like this is getting a little bit dry, but I could be wrong. It could just be that it's a really light color. All right, I'm not going to bother coloring that fifth leaf because I know on this project it's not going to show. So we're just going to skip it. Next, I'm going to grab a light Calypso Coral. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the brush tip on this. And I'm just going to lightly kind of bounce and make little dots. So it's kind of like pointillism, but it's almost kind of like a mosaic too. You're going to see when we get done. So I'm just going to come in here and just make dots. Now you could be more precise because there's all these little like circle veining on this leaf, and you could color those in, but this is a lot easier. So I'm just making dots, and I kind of want them to be random, some close together, some farther apart. We're just going to dot over this whole thing all over, and we're going to come in here and do the same thing. There we go. And this was with the light Calypso Coral. Now I want to grab the dark Calypso Coral, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to try not to dot where I just dotted, but besides that, I'm just randomly putting in little dots. And you start to get a really, really cool look. So just adding in those dots. Dot, dot. And it just takes a few minutes. It's a lot easier than trying to color specific areas because we're just dotting. Now I tried to use the bullet tip for this because I was like, well, it makes more sense to use the bullet tip. But I found the bullet tip made like the dots were too small. They weren't big enough. So I like to use the brush tip for this, but I'm not pushing very hard. So I'm still getting a dot, not like an oblong piece. All right. So there we go. There is the dark Calypso Coral. So now we've colored with light petal pink. We've dotted with light Calypso Coral and dark Calypso Coral. And now I'm going to go back in and I'm actually going to dot with some dark petal pink. I don't know why I did this one last. I think it's because I kind of want to fill this one in a little bit more. And so it just to me felt like it needed to come in and kind of fill in a bit in between the other dots. Now I'm not covering the whole thing because I still want some really light areas, but this is just going to give us a little bit darker petal pink in here too. I just love the way this looks. Let me know what you think. What do you think of this technique? And do you have a name? What would you call this technique? Like I said, I don't know if it would work on other images. It might. If you had other really fine detail stamps, it might work. I don't know. But I just love it. I think it's so fun. I think it gives, that's what I mean. It gives like more of a mosaic look. I've done kind of a pointillism technique before, which is really fun. But that usually you're kind of doing shading and stuff, whereas this is more mosaic-y looking. I'm going to hold this up so maybe you can see it a little bit better. See what all those dots look like. But there we go. Isn't that cool? I just think it's so pretty. All right. And of course, I'm a sucker for petal pink pink calypso coral and crumb cake and pecan pie. I am all over that. I am all over that. All right. We're going to take this big die, and the die is so big that I almost like I have to put the stamp where I want it, get the die all lined up, and then figure out how it fits. How it fits on the base plate here. All right. Put that down. Now I do have some other die cutting to do. Actually, we can do one little bit here. I'm going to grab a little piece of white because I do have some space down here. So I'm going to cut out the tag that we need. Like I said, I'm using this long, oblong, ovally, I don't know what it is, rounded rectangle tag. We're going to cut this out. Oh. Run that through my cut and emboss machine. And then we'll peel this off. Peel that off. Take off our die. And oh, I think this just looks so pretty when it's cut out. It's just so simple and gorgeous. All right. Here's our little sentiment strip. We will stamp that in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the die cutting that we need. I'm going to flip over my plate. Always good to flip over your plate. I'm using some calypso coral. You can see I've already die cut a couple leaves out of this piece. Just going to use the same one. So we'll put these leaves on here and we'll cut this out as well. All right, run this through my cut and emboss machine. I'm actually going to run this through twice just to make sure it really cuts it. Get rid of my plates, and my dies move just a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay. All right. Put that out of my way. Now we have to get these out. So I like to use my take your pick tool, and there's little tiny holes, and you just can come in and punch these. These will just poke out like the parts that are going to fall out. But these little teeny tiny holes, that's going to help release your die cut. So you can pull that out. Go. So there's that beautiful, beautiful leaf. Kind of it in a fall color. I like using calypso coral for fall. I know it's not really a traditional fall color. It's a little on the pinky side, but I like it for fall. Right. Let's get rid of all these little pieces. Don't worry about those. There we go. Set those aside. Wipe off my desk a little bit. Get rid of all those little bits. Let's stamp our sentiment. So I have my sentiment here. Or I have the sentiment strip here. I'm going to grab my pecan pie ink again. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "You are amazing in every single way." So just stamp that right on there. And then we're going to start assembling our card. So I'm going to set that aside. I have a little piece of the Country Woods Designer Series paper. This is, I believe, 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to start by adhering my big giant leaf behind it. So I'm just going to come in and put some adhesive on this leaf. This is why we didn't color it, because it's just going behind this wall. I like to think of this as it's like a fence. I don't know. I guess when I was putting this together, it's like a fence with a fall tree behind it. All right, so there we go. And then I'm going to take these ones. We're going to add these behind here. I'm actually going to slide that in between. And then this, we're going to totally cheat. We are not using green glue on this. We're just going to grab some tape and tape these in the back. It's just easier. All right, then this one, we want it about right there, perhaps. So we'll come in, flip that over, add a little tape to the back there as well. There we go. And this, I'm going to put this on a piece of crumb cake that is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Now I'm going to put green glue on the back of here, but I'm not going to put green glue everywhere. So I want to leave this leaf, and this leaf free from green glue. I'm going to put a little bit here and basically just on our wooden fence piece. This is going to come around. I'm going to slide it right in here. I'm not putting that fence all the way to the bottom. I wanted a little bit of a border down there. And there's our leaves on there. Now, you know what? I did want this leaf to be down though. Yeah, just a little adhesive. We're going to sneak some adhesive in there. All right, I don't know if you can see this. Sneaking a little bit. There we go. The rest of these, I'm going to put some dimensionals. You're stuck. We're going to put a dimensional under here. And I'm just lifting these leaves up. Now, I could have put these on before I put it down, but I found it was just easier to just lift up the leaves and put the dimensional underneath and then put it down. There we go. So there's a leaf behind there. I'm going to use some linen thread, and I'm going to tie some linen thread on here. I'm going to tie it around my card. Now, don't forget this fabulous stamp set, which I absolutely love. We are going to be using it again in September because it is the stamp set that we are going to use for the September online card class. All right. So we're going to make 3 cards with this in September, and you can get a free make and take kit. So all of the pre-cut cardstock and things to make those 3 cards, you can get it for free when you order at least $75 in product through me in August. All right. So you order at least $75 in Stampin' Up product through me in August, and you're going to get the Changing Leaves card kit. I almost said stamp set. You're not getting the stamp set. The card kit does not come with the stamp set. It's just the cardstock and any designer series paper you need or embellishments. So you're going to get that free. Isn't that awesome? All right. There we go. So if you want to do that, there is the link to order in the description to this video. So you can pop over there. The other thing, and I'm going to say this now, I'm pre-recording this, and I'm hoping that I don't change my mind before this goes live. But I am running a special while I'm on vacation. Is my vacation special. When you order at least $75 of product through me while I'm on vacation, so let me see, July 28th through August, I don't remember what the date is. Let me look. Through August, let's say 18th. So July 28th through August 18th, if you order at least $75 in product through me, you're also going to get a free set of embellishments. And offhand, I don't know what those embellishments are this minute, but I'm sure that I have announced them in my newsletters and everything. So you're going to get those. They're not going to come till later in September because they will come with your free card kit. So you'll get the free make and take kit with all of the pre-cut cardstock and everything to make the cards. And then you're also going to get a free pack of embellishments if you order while I'm on vacation. $75 order while I'm on vacation, and you're going to get that. So, all right, here we go. we need to do a little bit of embellishing. I'm going to pull out, these are the adhesive back metallic gems, which are so pretty. I'm going to use the copper color on this. And I'm going to put a big one down here. So we'll put a big one there. And then I always like to put a little one by the big one. So big one and a little one. And then we're going to grab another little one and we're going to pop it right up here. So we got 3 on there. Oh, I hope you guys like this. It makes me so sad when I'm not live because I don't get to see your reactions. I don't get to see your comments and things, but there we go. There is our changing leaves card with that fun little dotted mosaic look to it. Let me show you the other cards I have. All right, here is another one. And again, I used the Country Woods Designer Series paper in the background. And I used a little bit of the Nature's Goodness Designer Series paper. So we get a little bit of that gold metallic. So I used the gold gems on here. And this one, you can see what that embossing folder looks like in the background. Isn't that pretty? It makes a really pretty embossing folder. So there we go. And then my third card is a very simple card. Again, I use the Country Woods, and I use kind of one of the ones that is more white. I stamped just those big leaves. I stamped 2 of them in crumb cake. And then I glued the 2 and I cut off the edges and I used the little bits to kind of fill in. Use some of the polka dotted ribbon and then put the circle on there with the sentiment. So really sweet. I like this one too. So this set is just a great set. I can't wait to use it again in September. And I hope you will plan on being there for that. All right. Let's see. I gotta check and see what I'm doing next week. I'm gonna make sure I'm on schedule. This is what happens when I pre-record things. All right, so next week, Tuesday, August 13th, it should be August 13th, next week, Tuesday, we are going to do mystery stamping. And I have a great mystery stamping for you next week. I hope you will join me. We'll be doing it at 8 p.m. Eastern next week, Tuesday night. I will see you then. Have a great weekend.